Hey guys, it's Doc Sam here from the Repro Vets, and today's video is something super important. We're going to teach you guys how to tube feed a puppy. And that's something that intimidates so many people. They're nervous about it. They think, what if I put it in the wrong spot? I don't know my anatomy to where to put it. So we're going to show you live today on a puppy how to do that. But first things first, I want to go over some of the equipment that you're going to need. Number one, you need a syringe, and this can vary on sizes. This is a 12cc syringe, depending on how big your puppy is. Number two is a red rubber catheter. These they're blunt-ended, they've got some holes in there. The other end's usually bigger than this, and so we use scissors to cut that down until a syringe fits perfectly in there. So you're going to need that, and then you're going to need some goat's milk. This is what we routinely use. This is available at Walmart and online. Meyerberg's powdered goat milk. You can also use fresh goat milk. Just goat's milk we found to be the most proper supplement for puppies. This stuff, I think it's 2 scoops per cup of warm water, and you do want to make sure those puppies are getting warm goat's milk. You don't want to microwave it. It kills some of the micronutrients in it. Use warm water, make fresh goat's milk up each time. And so the next thing I would say is, how much do we give to each puppy? And so that's a very important question to ask. Typically, we're going to use 1 cc per ounce that puppy weighs. And the exception on that, we're going to do that 1 cc per ounce that they weigh. We're going to do that every 3 to 4 hours. Now, the exception on that is in newborns. Newborns, we usually back that off to about 75% of that. So if we have a 9-ounce puppy, we're going to give it 9 cc's normally every 3 to 4 hours. But if it's a newborn, we're probably going to back that off to 3 or 4, 5 cc's even, and maybe do it every 2 hours. And so when they're really young, we like to feed them a little more regular in smaller amounts because their stomach's just not used to stretching and holding that much at any given time. So right now, let's go straight into the action with our puppy and check it out. I think you'll like it. Alright guys, it's Sam from the Repro Vets, and today we're going to be talking to you about an instructional video here on how to tube feed a puppy. So today we got a little puppy here that's needing tube fed, and I want to go over first the equipment you're going to need. First thing that you're going to need is a red rubber feeding tube. These things have a blunt end on the end, and then they have a couple little holes for the feeding. And on the other end, they have a larger end, and this has been cut down a little bit with some scissors so that it'll fit on the end of a syringe. So the next thing you need is a syringe, and this is we've got some goat's milk in here, which is our preferred method of supplementation, and I've got a couple cc's of air in here. These average red rubber catheters hold a couple cc's of milk, and so we want to make sure that we'll use that air to actually empty the rest of the milk out of this when we get done. So without further ado, let's go through the how-tos on how to do this and make sure that we get it in the correct hole, because when we insert this into the puppy's mouth, there's basically 2 places it can go. It can go down the esophagus and into the stomach, which is where we want it to go, or it can go down the trachea and into the lungs, which is very bad and will cause death in these puppies. So how do you know which way which hole it goes in? Well, naturally they tend to go in the esophagus and the stomach, but I'm going to show you a way here in just a minute to double check and make sure that you get it in the right spot. So the first thing we need to do is talk about how far in do we put this tube. Do we put it the whole way? Do we put it halfway or whatnot? So what you want to do, and this will work for any size puppy, you want to take a measurement here of this tube from the last rib. You can tell this puppy's hungry. So from the last rib to the tip of its nose, and just hold on to it there. And then what you do is take you a Sharpie, because you're going to probably have to do this more than once. Take you a Sharpie and just mark that tube with a Sharpie mark so you know I'm going to put it in that far. And we do this for a couple reasons. The first reason is if you do happen to go in the trachea into the lungs, it won't be able to go that far. It's going to stop before it gets there, and you won't be able to feed the tube any further. So it kind of helps us know that we're in the right spot if we can make it to that black line. The other reason is we want to make sure we get it all the way into the stomach, and so that tells us if we get to that line, we know we're in the stomach. So without further ado, we're going to talk about inserting it. There is nothing special. You don't have to visualize this or know what you're doing when you put it in there. It's just got to go down the throat, and then we're going to double check. So what we're going to start right now is we're going to insert this tube, and we're just going to kind of keep pushing, and it goes down. And notice we did make it all the way to the black mark. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take the cap off our little syringe here. We're going to insert it in the end. And this next part is very important. We're going to pull backwards on this syringe, okay? And I am getting air, okay? That we don't want air. That means we could potentially be in the lungs. So we're going to pull this out and we're going to try this over again, okay? We're going to get it back to where we have 2 cc's of air in here, okay? I'm going to preload this with a little bit of that milk. There you go. I'm going to put this back in. Okay, we're back into our mark. Pull back a little. Now we have a vacuum. Notice when I pull that up, see how it pulls it right back down? That tells us we've got a vacuum. We know we're in the stomach. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and give that. We're going to let that air empty that out. We're going to hold on here and we're going to pull that out. And we've tube fed a puppy. So that's it. This guy's happy now. He's got a belly full of milk. Y'all have a great day.